Yeah, we're going to talk about the Secondstax portal, which is a tech-driven smart order management and execution routing system built for investment firms, that's licensed broker-dealers, asset managers, or institutional investors, to facilitate intra-continental African capital market transactions. It's completed, or rather complemented, by detailed news, research data, and operations systems, providing an enriched workflow experience for investment firms. Now, recently, they put a panel together to discuss leveraging opportunities in Africa's capital markets. So joining us now from Ghana is Daniel Kyei-Mensah. He's the Associate Vice President of Secondstax. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining us, and good evening to you. So how much progress has been made so far, this half year with regards to the African capital markets integration?
Good evening, and thanks for having me. I can say confidently that a lot of progress has been made with regards to capital market integration since we took this step. On our end, we've been able to grow our client base by more than 60%. We have lots more brokers from across the three markets we are in, joining the platform. It's also seen a rise in transactions. Volumes are growing, and as such, we can see that there's a lot of movement of trade movement cross-border on our portal. Yeah.
Now, in terms of your portal, so explain what this means. I'm in Lagos. You're in Temar. That's where you are, right?
Temar, yeah.
Temar.
Yeah,
so if I wanted to buy equities on the Ghanaian exchange, you're saying I can just hop on the platform and do that. Is that the essence?
Okay, so how it works now is that it's a B2B. So we have institutional investors. We deal with licensed dealing members of all the exchanges that we are connected to. So we have a sponsored broker in Nigeria, and then you are able to trade through that sponsored broker. The good thing is that the rails are all already been laid. So all that happens is that once your broker receives your order from the comfort of his office, he just logs into the portal, looks at the Ghanaian market or the Kenyan market, whichever stocks you want to buy, he clicks a buy or a sell, he executes the order. So, and because it's a straight-through process, a direct market access, there is no need for any further intervention. The order hits the market directly and is executed.
So, okay, so the broker, so I'm still getting on the platform and I'm still sending the request to the broker, and then the broker is the one that's going to execute that particular request. That's how it works.
So, correct. As I mentioned, it's still a B2B. So we are dealing with the licensed dealing brokers for now, but the plans are also far advanced. We are working on a retail app which will provide label to all the licensed dealing members in every jurisdiction that we are in.
Is it a regulatory thing? Is it easier to start B2B before you start getting retail investors to be able to hop on and buy stocks that they want?
Sure. It's definitely a regulatory thing. The regulator, as much as possible, would like to give some protection to retail investors. So as a start for getting the platform to market, the best way was to work through the licensed dealing members. And once they are on board, they are able to give access to high net worth clients who can even trade as of now. Some of them are doing that already. So they're able to give direct access to high net worth clients and very savvy investors to trade directly. But largely to protect individual retail clients from getting bent with some investment decision. For now, it's a B2B. But as I mentioned, plans are far advanced to roll out the retail app by close of.
Okay. Well, what's your footprint like for now? So as far as the brokers, the dealers that you have, B2B, what's the spread like across the continent?
So currently we have about 13 brokers on board, and we have about 5 or 6 in Ghana. We have another 4 in Kenya, and currently we have 2 in Nigeria, and we have about 3 or 4 brokers more in the pipeline with reference to Nigeria especially.
So what are you aiming for in terms of your footprint?
Oh yeah, so as I mentioned, obviously the idea is to integrate the whole continent. But we started with, just look at the geography of it. We have East Africa covered by Kenya, Ghana, and Nigeria. Obviously, Nigeria is one of the biggest on the continent. Next, we are rolling up. We are almost 80-90% complete with integration for BRV and Francophone West Africa. That will bring on board another 8 markets. And then we are looking at Casablanca and Egypt. And finally, we'll bring on board JSE.
Okay, well, yeah, I was going to ask you. I mean, the JSE is the most capitalized market on the continent. So are you saving the best for last? So wouldn't you have gone for a bigger market up front?
Definitely, we're saving the best for last. But, it's the technology we are building, and we have to, move it gradually. But we've covered all the markets. As I mentioned, we wanted to give you some geographical cover. So now we've covered most of the continent, but definitely we are bringing on board JSE.
Now, are you going to stick with Africa or give potential investors access to markets outside the continent? I mean, you've seen I don't need to tell you that the Ghanaian cedi has, weakened considerably against the US dollar. I'm here in Lagos, Nigeria. The Naira has also been beaten down considerably against the US dollar. So for the typical investor, they do want to protect their purchasing power, have access to US dollar securities as a way to hedge against, currency depreciation. So do you one day in the near future, I mean, maybe you can tell us your plans far out, see yourselves just sticking to the African continent or possibly, going beyond?
Master, we definitely believe in Africa. We know the African market has a lot of depth. There's a huge potential across the market. Yes, you mentioned all the shocks that some of the markets or the economies are experiencing at the moment. But then again, I mean, look at the geographical diversification that the portal offers you. Yes, Nigeria might be experiencing some turbulence right now, but there are equally other markets that are, on the uptake. So whilst we will definitely, our concentration for now is on the African capital market. We believe that by bringing the synergies, harnessing all the synergies on the African market, we'll be able to, give investors more opportunities to weather the difficult shocks that some of the markets experience.
In terms of portfolio diversification, your typical investor is not just looking at equities, they're also looking at fixed income money markets. So are you just equities or are you giving access to other securities as well?
For now, we are just equities, but we have fixed income coming on also by end of Q3. And so you can imagine the depth that alone is also going to add to that. Also, we are actively exploring other asset classes with our partners, and there are talks ongoing for us to even add some mutual funds from some fund managers across the continent to our asset classes. So yes, very soon there will be fixed income, and we'll be bringing on board other asset classes as well.
Fantastic. Now, what are the challenges here? There's the different currencies. Does that pose a challenge? What's the operational headaches for you, if any at all?
I mean, definitely, currency it's a major challenge. And I mean, for that, we are also in talks with PAPS, Pan-African Payment and Settlement System. That is one. I mean, that once that comes on stream, that is going to remove that block from the capital market. But in the interim, I mean, we are just being very creative around the issue of movement of funds. So, for instance, if you are in Nigeria, you want to move funds across to Ghana, you find licensed or regulated dealers who in Nigeria who can take your currency, your Naira, and settle you with a cedi in Ghana. So, as I mentioned, currency is definitely, the FX bit of it is definitely a challenge, but we already have an MOU in place with PAPS. So once PAPS comes on stream, I mean, that's going to ease the pressure a lot. Other challenges include standardization with reference to, for instance, KYC onboarding of clients, every jurisdiction and what they look out for when onboarding clients. But as we are integrating the continent, we believe that there will be a need for a standardized, KYC approach. Fortunately for us, we know the regulators are in active talk, WACMEC and all the other regulators. We know they are
You're doing great stuff. I think it's awesome to be able to just hop on your phone and buy stock. So we'll have you back. I want to talk to you maybe when you get retail investors on there. Daniel Kyei-Mensah over in Tema in Ghana, the Associate Vice President of Secondstax. Thank you so much for talking to us about navigating the African capital markets. All right.